Go. Okay, so I'm just going to go right into the lead gen tactics. So the first one is to use smart forms in your lead generation efforts. What that means with smart forms is that, for example, let's say your marketing forms has like maybe 3 or 6 fields. With smart forms, and you can integrate a lot of your forms with third-party tools, you then show the information that you don't have of the user. So what I mean is that, let's say you build your landing page on whatever kind of landing page tool they use, whether it's built on HubSpot, Instapage, and so on. That form that you use can be integrated with a tool like Clearbit. I'll share the link with you in a second. And the minute that the user enters his email address, what Clearbit can do is that they can pull data from over 80 different data sources and auto-populate the fields so that it doesn't really show to the user. So to give you an example, this is how it works. Right, so you've got somebody who types in andrew@clearbit.com. Automatically, if Clearbit doesn't have the information of where Andrew is from, then the country field will show up. Otherwise, other titles such as Chief Marketing Officer, the company name, employee size, all that fields can be automatically hidden from the user. What that means for you as marketers is that naturally you get much shorter forms, because a lot of landing pages, their forms are like 6, 7 different fields, and you know that it affects conversion rates, right? So with smart forms like this, you can eliminate about easily 50% of your form, have limited text fields for them to fill up, and it's it makes of great user experience as well. So the tool name is clearbit.com. I'm sure there are other tools out there. I just haven't bothered finding other tools because it only costs like about $99 US dollars a month. Next lead gen hack is to use interactive quizzes. This is one of my favorite methods. So just a quick story. Sports Singapore were one of the clients that we've worked with. I think there's some people from Sports Singapore here as well. I can't recognize your faces, but forgive me. But what we did was that they had this thing called onboarding, which is sort of like a health assessment kind of thing. And the challenge with health assessments in Singapore is that most people won't be interested in signing for health assessment. Like, why do you want to go to health assessment? Like, there's no point. So the way we try to make it interesting is to run interactive quizzes where when people land on the landing page, it says, take the first step to improve your health, and then you answer a series of questions. It's sort of like, you guys remember maybe about 5-6 years ago on Facebook, there were games that you could play. Which Friends character are you? Which Pokemon are you? That kind of stuff. This is like the slightly more mature equivalent for brands with interactive quizzes. So you need to land on, like, once people answer certain questions, they would then result in certain outcomes that based on their answers and their scores. So these are the 3. The tools that you want to use would be the ones that I shared over here. Survey Anyplace, Lead Quizzes. Typeform has native integration for those of you who are on HubSpot. So that's really cool as well. You don't have to use like third-party tools and pay for another thing to integrate with whatever CRM or ESP that you're using. Next one is smart pop-ups. So the problem with pop-ups is that most people just think of pop-ups like, okay, it's one of those annoying things that, would just annoy people just to collect email addresses. It's annoying because most people don't know how to use it properly. They just use pop-ups like, okay, at most they use time delay pop-ups. Where maybe you scroll down half the page, or if you stay on the page for at least like 10-15 seconds, then the pop-up shows up. There's actually a lot more smarter ways that you can go about doing it, especially if your traffic volume is at least about in the 5,000, 10, or even 15,000 a month. Anything less than that, I think it might not. Anything less than 5,000, you may not even want to use smart pop-ups. But the good thing with smart pop-ups is, like, one of them is what we call exit intent. So it's like what you just saw, where the cursor goes towards the X button in the browser. This only works for desktop, of course. And then you have the pop-up show up over here. Now I'm going to give you guys some more examples of smart pop-ups. But before I do that, one thing that you should also do with pop-ups in general is to always do a lot of A/B testing. With the tools that I'm about to give you, there are some really, really cool tools that you can just use and A/B test and find out, obviously, which pop-up works the best. So one example is called time delay pop-ups. You guys already know that, but here's the kicker. If you go to your Google Analytics, there's one thing that you should find out more about is what's the average time spent per user on your site. So let's say you go to your site and you see that in general, the average time spent is about 4 minutes, 14 seconds. Then it sort of makes sense for you to have the pop-up display maybe a little bit before or after your average time spent. So you don't annoy most people, but you know that you are genuine. You're trying to capture people who are genuine about wanting to learn more from you, wanting to be in touch with you, want to stay connected with you. Hence, you only let the pop-up run sometime around your average time spent per user. Next is to display based on where your users are coming from. That also depends on the market that you're in, the business model that you're running. With certain tools, you can have the pop-ups display based on the device or where they are coming from. Right? This pretty much works most of the time for countries. If you're targeting like multiple countries, then you obviously want to have a pop-up that would say, if you're from Singapore, you can say hi. If you're from Singapore, blah 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 blah. Install pop-ups on pages with high bounce rates. That's something that, again, it's good to think about. So again, on GA, look at your average bounce rate. This screenshot here has like really, really high bounce rate, 89%. So do most of you guys know what the definition of bounce rate is? All of you guys? Okay, good. So what bounce rate? So you want to see, okay, what's your average bounce rate? If it's like 89%, then you can single out pages with high bounce rate. Same for exit percentage. If they are higher than average, then those are the pages that before they leave your site, you want to capture their email address. So in general, if you ask me, what's the average percentage? This is a stat that we are seeing, and this is all without like a single dollar spent. So if you ask for tools, I'm going to give you guys the tools. Hello Bar is one of my favorite tools to use. Then there's, of course, HubSpot. You're welcome. And then there's Opt-in Monster, which is another tool as well. I think they have like free trial versions, or even if it's paid, it's like nominal fees, next to nothing. Then lead gen hack number 4 is video SEO. This is something that I like to talk about because every one of you knows SEO, right? I'm sure most of you in the room here knows what SEO is all about. I'm not going to go into details, but video SEO is something that is, in my mind, a lot easier to do. Maybe Tim would have a different opinion about that. And you can see that in terms of trying to get ranked in Google, it generally takes a long time, which again, I'm sure most of you know that to get ranked in Google, it really takes anywhere from at least 6 months to, I don't know how long, depending on the keywords in the competition that you face. But with YouTube search, you can get ranked, you can get your video ranked within the first week or so. And plus, another argument for why video SEO is so important is that the number of search volume within YouTube is just going up, which makes of a case of video SEO again. So here's one. I'm just trying to show my my street cred over here. So we created a video ourselves, and then I tried to get it ranked for the word HubSpot tutorial. So if you search for it on YouTube, you scroll down. I think it's number 6. You can see over here. That's a very flattering picture of one of the guys from HubSpot. But you can see that we got the video ranked, I think, within like the first 48 hours or so after the video was published. So that's the cool tip. Now, if you want to learn more how to get ranked, I'm going to give you the resource to it. You can go and search Ahrefs YouTube SEO. That's where I learned all my stuff here as well from YouTube. Literally, I took like everything of what this guy says and I tried to implement in our video, and we saw the results in a short period of time. Because to get ranked on YouTube, I think it only takes about less than a week, and that's your critical time period. You're welcome also. Last lead gen hack that I have for you guys is the use of chatbots. Now, this was like an in thing maybe about like a year ago, and then for some reason the market just sort of like let this idea die down. So chatbots is a great idea, and the thing about chatbots is that instead of because when I say chatbots, most people just put like live chat ticker on your website. That's not chatbot. That's live chat. It's different. Right? Live chat means you talk to like a real person, like a real agent. Chatbot means you obviously talk to a bot. And if anything, this is probably one of the worst ways for you to approach chatbots. The first trigger message to say, "Hi, how can I help you?" It's like walking into a Zara store or G2000 store. Well, not G2000. Nobody really shops there anymore. But but Zara, and then you have like the retail staff coming to you and say like, "Hi, how can I help you?" The answer that you're going to give most of the time is, "Well, no, thanks, I'm just browsing." So you don't want to go about doing this. Instead, there are 3 ways of how you can go about like building smart chatbots. I'm just going to give you like the general framework to think about. The first one is to use the chatbot for general qualification. That means you qualify your visitors from there. The next one is to use the chatbot to trigger messages based on the user's intent. I'll go into details in a second. And the last one is more of an advertising conversation, which I'll talk about in a bit as well. So what does qualification conversation means? So if you look at this chatbot over here, which we've built for JLL, it's more like a B2B kind of chatbot. You can see that they ask questions, and then you sort of like answer options to interact with the chatbot from there. You can do the same thing for your chatbot as well. You just need to know what's the user journey, and there are tons of like resources out there to build chatbots. And plus, it's not very expensive as well. This one, I can't remember how much, but it's generally much less than what you think for. Another thing I wanted to add on to chatbots is that what you're seeing over here, this kind of chatbots, is what we call like answer option chatbots, where you obviously don't type in anything, right? Now, if you want to take your chatbot further to the next stage, and this is sort of like our government kind of chatbots, your CPF chatbots, your HDB chatbots, and so on, where you can literally like type in a question, and then based on certain keywords that's within your question, the chatbot would be intelligent enough to pick up the intent of your question and then provide to you the closest possible example. Am I making sense here? Right? So to build that kind of chatbots, again, the logic is very simple. You just need to get a lot of what I call training data, where you get people to ask questions first, and then you need to train the bot and teach the bot how to, what's the intent of every question that they get from, and what's the recommended answer from there. And based on the training data of maybe about 500 questions that come through, you can actually build a real chatbot from there. This is the conversation flow that we built for JL. So that's called qualification chatbot. The goal of that chatbot is really to drive leads, right? Again, and I'll just do a little plug for HubSpot over here. I think HubSpot has this little chatbot thing, and it's free, right? That you can, even if you're not HubSpot user, you can just go in, sign up for a free account, install the chatbot. For qualification, I think they have one very basic ones that's all templatized already. In fact, we're using it on the Brew website ourselves as well, my agency website. And then we get leads from there that we wouldn't otherwise have got those leads, because people sometimes are just too lazy to go to the contact form. So that's qualification chatbot. The next one is intent-based conversation. So what that means is that, let's say this is one of our clients, Marco Polo Hotel. They have like, I think 17 hotels in Hong Kong, Philippines, and China. Anyway, my point is that once you go to the Marco Polo Hotel website, and let's just say you are B2B, and you somehow come down to one of their properties called Marco Polo in Jinjiang, which is one part in China, and then you revisit back to this page. What you're going to see is that you're going to see a lot of like answer option chatbots. So what that means is that, let's say you are B2B, and you somehow come down to one of their properties called Marco Polo in Jinjiang, which is one part in China, and then you revisit back to this page. right? In some of your case example, they could be like maybe they visit your pricing page or they visit your About Us page, right? So if they've been to their pages before, and obviously you would know because you've cookied them, then you want to have your chatbot to trigger a message that would say something along the lines of like, hi, I noticed that you came to this page before, and then you can maybe address objections from there. So you can offer a conversation around, are you interested to know about pricing? Or if the user has maybe left your website about 2 weeks ago and came back, and you maybe have new products that you want to shout about, this is where you can have the chatbot to trigger the message and say, hey, welcome back. Did you know that we added like XYZ new products into the space? Or hey, did you know that I recently spoke at this event, so on and so forth. So that's intent-based conversation. And then the last one would be advertising-based conversation, where you basically run ads on Facebook, and you can trigger messages based on that, where you run ads on Facebook and then there's a little message button over here. This one, I realize not a lot of marketers are using it. When I surf Facebook, I don't see a lot of people running, but it's actually one of the cooler things to do for lead gen purposes as well, if you're trying to go out towards the consumer market. So there we go. There are 3 different types of chatbots. Of course, if you ask any so-called chatbot expert, I think they would be able to tell you a lot more about chatbots. In fact, if you want to learn more, there's this book called Conversational Marketing that I recently read. It's very, very good when it comes to giving you ideas about building chatbots. So there we go. Just a quick summary. I think that's about 15 minutes from my end. So it would be smart forms, interactive quizzes, smart pop-ups, video SEO, chatbots, and that's it. So with that,